It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 92. My name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yes, it is. Hey, and today we have Mr. Stephen Potter. Stephen, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
You're doing great. Stephen's back from vacation, which is nice, especially when you're the owner-operator of your own company, Potter's Custom Floors. Thanks for coming on today, man.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate the time, man.
It's hard to come back from vacation and then come back full swing. And that, I'm sure you got a ton of stuff that you're already having to do. And it's like, oh yeah, I got to do a podcast.
Oh yeah. That's nice. It gets me away from all those things I have to do.
Right? Good distraction.
Push them off a little bit longer.
A little bit of procrastination.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, hey, wanted to introduce you and first, pretty much how we start every episode, but wanted to kind of hear from you. Tell us how you got started, first of all, as a contractor in the construction industry. How you got started is, I don't know if you were a kid and your dad or whatever, but tell us a little bit about that history and how you got to where you're at today.
Actually, I started out working for my very first girlfriend when I was 15 years old. I started working for her stepdad in the town I grew up in, and he was a hardwood flooring contractor, and I just continued to do it down to 100%. It's been almost 20 years now. I've been doing the same thing. Started my own business about 10 years ago, and just kind of snowballed. So
what drove you to starting your own business? What was the was there a moment in time that kind of clicked and said, I want to do my own?
The typical delusions of grandeur. I really wanted I thought I would have a lot more time off. I would make a lot more money. Really what was most important to me was to do a really high quality job and not be rushed all the time. So that was probably the biggest driving factor.
So you said delusions of grandeur of having time off and making tons of money.
It doesn't happen when you're the owner.
Yeah,
exactly.
So where are you guys at now? What kind of work are you guys doing?
I do like really high end stuff, really custom stuff, some off the wall stuff too. Strictly wood flooring, and I really just like to do the super fun stuff as compared to a few years ago, just doing kind of like all jobs. So.
Now, when you say high end stuff, is this residential, commercial? Where are you doing most of your work?
Most of the work would be residential, and I guess I do a small portion of commercial as well.
And when mainly what now? Okay, cool.
Did you say tasting rooms?
Tasting rooms, yeah, wineries.
I wonder,
things like that.
Because you're up where that glass fire was going on, right?
Oh yeah.
So I mean, we have a coworker that just came back from a weekend with her husband up there, and she said it is. I mean, they go up there regularly. They're members of some winery up there, but she said it's like the moon. There's, especially when you get kind of St. Helena and all up in there, Calistoga, that it's just so badly burnt, and so many different wineries are gone.
Yeah, so I'm in Calistoga, and the fire came within about 100 feet of my house.
Oh, wow.
I was evacuated for about a week and a half, and it was real nasty. There's been nothing but fires here over and over again for the past couple of years, and it was never really that way when I was growing up. So it's kind of crazy to see it all happen, and lots of damage, and it's just kind of nasty all around.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear you guys are okay. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's probably means you're going to probably have quite a bit of work coming up in the next few years, especially with all the rebuilding going on, huh?
Oh yeah, Sonoma County. I mean, from the Tubbs fire in 2017, it's just like work like crazy. It's not slowing down, and I mean that fire burned like, I think it was almost like 8,000 homes.
Oh wow!
It ripped right into like a major city. It came into Santa Rosa. It's pretty nasty.
Jeez.
Lots of work. Yeah.
So when you say residential, are you doing more, tear out and new stuff on existing homes, or are you going in as a sub under a GC building, custom homes?
I do both. A lot of times there's a lot of new construction going on right now due to all those fires, and plus just local economy is doing really well. But I also do like refinishing or repairs or additions on existing homes. I work directly with homeowners. I also work with general contractors as well. It's probably 50-50, I'd say.
Okay. So from a marketing standpoint, where are you focusing, or how are you getting some of that work, be it from the private homeowners themselves or from the GCs? How do you kind of market to each of those segments?
It's all just word of mouth, and it just kind of seems to flow. It comes to me, and I worked really hard at doing a really good job. So people bring me back again to continue to do more jobs. So it just keeps going. I have I have an Instagram, I have a Facebook page, but I don't really use them that much. And probably not the most professional.
I mean, yeah, if you don't have to, why, if there's no need to put a lot of effort in it. Now, I think you mentioned before we went live, you're kind of a one-man show. Exactly. Is that okay? Are there visions of grandeur and making money and growing it all, or are you happy being a one-man show because of the quality that you focus on?
I had employees in the past, and about 3 or 4 years ago, I made a conscious decision to be a one-man show only. And I'm just going to stick with this. It's the way I get the best quality of life, also the best quality craftsmanship on the project. So
yeah,
I think I'm just.
What were some of those? What were some of those headaches you kind of went through with from an employee standpoint?
Employees really hard to find, especially around here with all those fire problems happening. There's so much construction. I mean, nobody really needs a job. So the employment market here is really hard to find anyone. I mean, even to find bad guys, which of course you don't want, but it's just really hard finding employees.
So it sounds like the quality of basically the craft is difficult to find somebody that actually can do the quality of work that you're looking to do, the high end quality of work, especially if you're doing high end construction. And so that sounds like that was the major issue when you first started working for your first girlfriend. Was that first? Because you said 20 years. Let's be clear.
He wasn't working for his girlfriend.
No, that's correct. Although at 15, that's how life works, right?
Yeah, that's
you end up working for your wife, right?
Yeah, that's a heck of a commitment right there to at 15 to work for your girlfriend.
She got you good, man. So back up. So when you first started working for the company that was related, and so I think it was your girlfriend's father, am I correct?
Stepdad, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, all right, there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Was that because I think I heard you say 20 years, and then 10 years is the current Potter's Custom Floors. 10 years prior to that, was that one company, or what was? I guess what my main question is, what were some of the things that you saw there that kind of created some of these things of like in terms of thinking I need to do maybe this better or change this, or what were some of those factors that caused you to get you to where you're at today in terms of high end, small business, things like that?
Well, my first project or my first job for my girlfriend's stepdad, he was like old and on the verge of retirement. So I worked for him for about 3 years. No.
That looks great.
He cared, but he was just like an old time guy. I mean, you'd go and you'd pick up your paycheck at the bar at 3 p.m. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it by 4. The paycheck was pretty much spent. So, I mean, I wanted to make a life for myself at that point, and I worked for him for about 2 years, and then I got like a regular, legit company job, and continued with that for years, and it's in this trade, you're always getting pushed. We're basically the last in the construction project, and there's not nothing for error, and people really push really hard. So I don't know. I really try to communicate things up front and get the schedule figured out up front, so it doesn't become like a surprise later that I have to work till midnight to get a job done.
Right.
So
through those other companies, were you moving up at all as far as, from the labor to maybe project management or anything? I don't know what the growth line is there, or did you go from, laying floors to screw this, I want to do it on my own?
Yeah, no, there wasn't really much room for advancement. I guess that would be another reason why I started my own company.
Yeah.
It was just basically like you go from helper to installer to like kind of like a supervisor, but still an installer position. And then,
right.
So delusions, I want to go back to that delusions of grandeur. You're with the company there. You're thinking, I need to start something new, right?
Right.
How was that transition when you left there and you started, like, especially initially? I'm assuming it was probably more difficult than you planned. It wasn't like work was you didn't have like work rolling in right away, right? So if you I'm asking this question too because a lot of the people that are listening, some of them we have actual, contractors, owners of different companies, and then we also have guys that are listening that are working for some of these contractors. So maybe speak to that in terms. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's actually it's a great thing to start your own business to strike out on your own. But also, I think it's super valuable to get some of the like, hey, here's the reality of either how difficult it was or some of the things that I had to do to get there.
So I started the business. It was like 2010 was still the recession. I was doing a lot of side work and stuff like that. And it just kind of snowballed. I tried to do the very best that I could on each project. And then I would get a referral from that client. And it just kept going like that. But going like legitimate business, paying taxes and payroll tax and insurance and all that kind of stuff. There were so many costs that like I didn't even think about, were basically just surprises to me when I started my own business. Insurance was huge. Workers' comp is huge. Mm-hmm. All those things. I mean, doing public works projects, all the paperwork involved with it, just let alone the paperwork side of the business, half of it, there's so much to it. And dealing with customers, taking all responsibility for everything, it's a lot of work. And I worked myself to the bone. And then I came with this little plan hold here in my hands. It's like an SOP, standard operating procedure for my company. I was really burned out, and I took some time off and I wrote some kind of stuff to it, and it led to a better life for me for day-to-day operations and just being able to take vacations and stuff like that. I really thought when I started that it would just be like but fun and
do a couple jobs, take a couple weeks off, do a couple jobs, take a couple.
Yeah, I mean, sure you can do that. We won't be very successful at business.
Right. Yeah. Are you going back to the paperwork side of it? Is that something that, I mean, I understand obviously you're a one-man show in the field, but are you a one-man show in the office as well? Or is it just you doing all, do you have any help at all when it comes to that stuff?
Right now I don't have any help, but I do plan on hiring an office like assistant, somebody to take over that. Cause I really just want to be able to focus on doing the projects,
Yeah. Focus on that quality out there so you don't have to worry about the headaches in the office.
Right, exactly. It's like I said, it's a lot of work. You get off at 4 or 5, and then all of a sudden you have to do like 4 or 5 more hours worth of work.
Yeah, that's true.
So what led you? Did you that standing operating procedure kind of handbook that you wrote? I think it's awesome, and it's very
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Like to kind of write something to keep yourself in line. I love that, but. Okay. Were there tools or advice that you looked to kind of writing that, or is that something you just kind of went, hey, this is the way I need to do this?
So it was both. I really realized that I needed to make a change one day, and also I've got all kinds of great mentors and people that I look up to that help me move forward. Just not only with this, but just like I guess planning for goals and executing goals. I have a lot of people that help me along the way, for sure.
Are those just people that you've kind of run into along the way, or are they people that you like sought out and actually, pay to use them as a service?
I did have a business advisor in like 2015 that I paid to help me decide which way I wanted to go, whether I wanted to be a big company or a small company. I guess that was maybe more like 2014, and I decided against his advice to do to go big and take on a large project, a really large project.
Hard to turn down the dollars, huh?
Yeah, it was really hard to turn dollars, and it was a really good project. I'm glad I did it, but it was a learning lesson too, and I probably won't do it again.
Just from
a lot more prepared, like I am now, I guess. So.
Was that just like a management standpoint, like managing that size of a project, or what were some of the hiccups there, or the learning lesson?
It was really hard. It was for a high-end builder. The big value was six figures. It was really expensive. It was about a year-long project.
Wow.
And yeah, to do that, and I had a crew of about 5 guys in, and then a couple of guys that would help me part-time. And it's just really hard. The project was kind of mismanaged. They didn't schedule things correctly. It's, being a floor guy, you have access to everything, and it just wasn't really the case. I mean, it's like they'd give me like a 10-12 corner in a 10,000 square foot house. So it was really inefficient, and I was just stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
30-day pays, 90-day retentions, all that kind of stuff.
Jeez. Well, I can imagine too, if you're last on the job, that you're experiencing the most pressure because especially if it's being run
if everything else is run behind a little bit. Yeah.
And you're like, hey man,
exactly.
I gotta do a good job. But they're like, I don't care. Get it done.
Exactly. I worked hours like you wouldn't believe on that project. It's insane.
So is that something that
was really when I decided to write this.
So I would imagine part of that maybe is kind of when you, I'm assuming part of that SOP book that you have there is some sort of checklist when you go into starting a job to make sure that you kind of get as much of the information up front so that you're not hit with any surprises. Is that a piece of it?
Oh, exactly. It's all about communicating expectations, and I have everything in here about like humidity, the submittal process, like the bidding process, so customers know what to expect, like where we start and where we finish. Just kind of an overview of how everything works. A flow chart of the bidding process, and a lot of this will weed people out. It'll kind of get rid of the bad ones, like right off the bat. And it also has job site expectations, terms, acclimation guides, all the really important stuff where miscommunications happen. So, sorry, I guess you guys weren't seeing it.
No, that's cool. Yeah. I
think that's great.
I think, what's awesome about it too, and I know we said we were going to send you a bill for the Zoom part, and I might have to send you a bill for this next little part here too. But that sounds like something that could probably pretty easily translated across different, disciplines, right? Not just hardwood flooring. I'm sure that you could probably translate it among different disciplines. Is that something you've looked at, copywriting, selling, or distributing as somebody who, to somebody who's looking to start their own business?
I've never thought about selling it or anything like that. That's kind of a difficult decision because these are like this is like my playbook,
Right. Yeah.
I don't exactly want to give it away, but there definitely are people that have reached out. I wrote an article for a Wood Floor Business magazine a couple months ago. There were a couple people that reached out. It was about this SOP. It did help them. I wanted to help them because I didn't want them to go experiencing things I did.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of strain that went on there. So I wanted to make sure I want to help people.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's awesome. Mike and I talk to contractors every day. Yeah. And so we hear, and from small to big, right? And so we hear a lot of the same stories. Right. And I think you're actually fairly unusual. So when you first told me that you're in a good way, I mean, so when you're telling me you're an owner operator, you're a one-man show, most guys are just kind of shooting from the hip. And I'm sure there's an element of that, right? You're a contractor. So every day is a little bit different. You're kind of on your toes and, things change, especially as the flooring guy coming in on a project. But that being said, most guys, in fact, 99% of most small businesses, and I mean like 1, 2, 3, 5 guys in terms of company size, are not going to have what you have, that standard, that SOP. From a
system standpoint,
to keep them organized and efficient and standardized on each project so that they can get, I think, to Mike's point, and when he's asking you, is this something you've ever thought about kind of like disseminating and selling or whatever? That's so valuable.
And I think the biggest reason too is there's a lot of that type of stuff that is probably, and we don't run contractor business, right? So we don't know, but I would assume some of the things along the line from a software standpoint that deal with scheduling or job bidding or, a lot of those Procore and some of those bigger ones, like those are out of reach from a cost standpoint to a lot of smaller businesses. And there are some that take the leap and they do something like that because they have it in their mind that they're going to grow and they need that eventually some point down the road. But to somebody who's just looking to stay small and either on their own or, 1 or 2 employees, there's not a lot out there for them from a playbook or from a systems management standpoint. At a reasonable cost. So that's the main reason why I asked. I feel like we're just sitting here right now. We're developing a business plan. We should white paper this and make sure we get a copy right now. When this launches and you get a bunch of phone calls about interest in that, we'll have to talk a little bit.
All right. It's pretty cool.
I think it's awesome.
Like it also has like change order. It has examples, change orders, proposals, also like roles. Like it has all the different jobs that are necessary to run the business, and then day-to-day responsibilities and checklists for those jobs. So the whole idea was kind of to like automate stuff.
Yeah.
And if I did ever want to grow or have more people, which is a possibility in the future, and who knows what life holds.
But from day one, from hiring somebody, you've got a playbook and they know exactly how your business should operate. So that stuff doesn't happen to companies until they get 10, 12, 15 employees and things are becoming unmanageable.
Like, oh God, I got to figure something out.
And they got to sit down and figure it all out. But I think it goes to show the level of detail and if I may, a little bit of OCD on your part, right?
In a good way.
To know, in a great way. Like to know that, that speaks to the level of detail and professionalism and quality to your craft that you have on the job as well, I would assume, right?
That's true.
If you're detailed enough to do this, to keep yourself in check in your one-man business, I have to imagine you're doing the same thing out on the job, right? You're kind of like that, not exactly right. Let me do it again. Let me fix it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that,
exactly. Yeah, I do some pretty cool projects. If you check me out on Instagram or I guess Facebook updated, but Instagram's pretty cool. It's a lot of personal stuff on there too, yes. But there's some really cool projects. So one of the projects I did last year won 2 international awards. Just for craftsmanship in the flooring industry. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
What the heck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the biggest one-man. You're like the biggest, most sophisticated one-man shop I've ever.
I'm not trying to write you off, but at the beginning when you told me, I was like, oh yeah, cool, great. And now you're like blowing my mind with all these different things. Okay, sorry, go ahead. Keep more from you and less from me.
That's funny.
So talk about those awards that you got. You seem like a pretty humble guy, so I don't know if that's going to be easy for you, but.
Sure. Let me grab it real quick. This is the Wood Floor of the Year Award. It's through the NWFA. They regulate and set all the installation and milling standards for the entire nation. A lot of it's like basically the world actually too. It's not just the name. But they give these awards out every year. It's called the Wood Floor of the Year contest. You can look up online, just Google it. And the craftsmanship will just blow your mind. I would consider myself a pretty good craftsman, but you see the stuff out there too, and it's just like, damn, holy shit. Excuse my language. Sorry, I don't know if that's
No, you're good.
We're listed as explicit, so you're good. we talk with contractors.
Also, this is the project here. It was the winner. It was like a 3-dimensional floor. It was also made to look like it was in the 1920s. It was a top nail floor. So they really wanted like a seamless design in their house, and I designed it myself. Something I really enjoy. You know, I really taking the time to do something like that. It was really fun. It was only like 900 square feet, and the project was about 6 months long.
Wow.
Jeez.
From start to finish. It was insane. It was cool.
That's a little intense. That's a little bit different than those the hardwoods and the track floors that go in or the track homes that go in about half a day, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
A little bit different than that kind of hardwood flooring.
I feel like you always hear those stories about the famous actors that do those huge movies,
right,
that are quick and they get them done and they get paid hundreds of millions of dollars. But their actual where they take the most pride in is that those small indie films that make no money but are high end quality. It's kind of like you, right? I'm sure. I don't even know. Like, you do work for. Do you do work for some of these high end or not high end, but like
high profile?
Yeah, high profile like companies, and make a quick buck there, and then go and do like these award winning flooring jobs, or what? How does that work?
I don't know. I would just say that I work for good people. You know, people that I can trust, and people that I could SOP and the contracts when I go to meet them. It's not so much, you don't have to be rich or poor or anything like that. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. It's just as long as I know that you're going to be a good client and reasonable. I guess that's how I choose. I mean, it doesn't really have, I do work for really high end people. Some people I can't even actually
talk about,
tell you their name.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be famous. Nobody has to be famous.
Yeah. That's awesome. Very cool, man. Well, what is the what does the future hold for you guys? What is the next 5, 8, 10 years look like for you?
Hopefully some really cool floors. I've got one that I can't. I'm gonna go look at one on Friday, but I can't tell you who it's for.
Tease. Such a tease.
It's a really, really cool one. It's an old recording studio, a famous recording studio, and they do something like really mind-bending. So we'll see what happens there. Just
keep innovating and keep doing cool floors and keep looking for that next high on that next cool job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that may be hiring an office assistant to do all the stuff that I do. So
very cool, man.
Yeah, very cool. Well, Steven, seriously, what a pleasure talking with you today, man. You continually blew my mind throughout the last 30 minutes or so. Really fun to kind of hear your story and where you've come from and how you've, just winning awards and all those things. That being said, like tell the people where to find you. I mean, if you like maybe Instagram, I'm not sure if you have that public or not, but tell the people where to find you.
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. It's at Potter's Custom Floors, or you could just search on Facebook for Potter's Custom Floors or Google. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Website at all?
My phone number too.
Do you have a website at all?
I don't have a website, no.
Okay. Yep. All right. Facebook and Instagram.
On the socials.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll push it. Yeah.
Very cool. We'll make sure to link all that stuff for you and get it out there for you when everything goes live. And we appreciate the time, Steven. It's been awesome.
Right on. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Have fun catching up from your vacation. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. Right on, man. Thank
you, sir. Have a good one.
All right. See you, Steven.
You too.
Hey, thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.